All right, we've got Facebook Live. We've got
You,
old stream
oh yeah, should
live.
we see if we can pull up the
Yeah,
the thing so we can see the comments like on YouTube?
yeah. And since we are actually streaming now, go ahead and get ready to feel.
The power.
That's Colin Crandall, myself, Adam Roorda. We're coming at you with another week here of MMA Power Hour this week from Third Wheel Podcast Studio in Los Angeles, lovely Los Angeles. All of you checking us out on the Hannibal TV. We'll be here for a while. We're here to stay. We're also over on our own social media. It's at MMA Power Hour. Make sure to go give it a like. And also a huge shout out to Lift Token. LiftToken.io is where you go to check it out, and it is all about sustainability and ethics in business. It is crypto related. Have some fun with it, and Colin, it's a fun project. We're about to launch some really cool stuff over there, so I am stoked to get out this little. We're doing a little plush almost like a Beanie Baby. But not
Nice.
quite.
Like
But it,
that.
it actually has technology attached directly to get it confirmed as an NFT, and you can have a metaverse item
I like it.
attached to it. So, like a 3D animation attached to a, uh, a physical item. So, we're the first to do it the way that we're doing it, and it is going to impact the industry drastically. So, you want to get in on this, everybody. It's lifttoken.io.
Absolutely. And Lith Token has a lot in common with us: sustainability and ethics in business. That's kind of like our MMA Power Hour team, isn't it? We're like this similar thing to Lith Token. You
Yeah, I
know,
mean, we have solar panels on the roof here, right? Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and say Third Wheel Podcast Studios has solar panels on the roof. Harrison's saying no.
no, but it's got something. But
He's actually saying he doesn't know.
well,
But yeah, no, actually wouldn't surprise me.
yeah, it wouldn't me either. I've been really enjoying myself living here in the metaverse since I found out what it was last week, and it's kind of fun, man. I gotta say, the metaverse is fun living. You guys got to join us. Get in the pool.
In the virtual reality and augmented reality and all the exciting things going on there.
Yeah, the water's warm, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And all you out there, guys and girls, So yeah, we've got a great show coming at
Trees
you
and
here.
whatever else you want to be. It's
Absolutely.
2022. Get with the times.
That's right. Be with whatever you want,
Just don't expect the other side of the spectrum to fight you if you claim
No.
to be it.
No, the only Spectrum will fight you is that Spectrum Wireless and the cable TV. They'll fight you if you don't want to.
My opinion is you can be what you want to be, but when it comes to athletics, I think genetics has a lot to do with it, and I think you're getting into performance enhancing territory when you start doing hormone, uh, uh, playing with the hormones. Really
Yes.
is what it is. So that's where I start having an issue with it, is just because it's performance enhancing, even if you're going to the other side of lower testosterone.
That could be.
Even that, I still think it's performance enhancing because you naturally have more testosterone.
Yeah, I
So
agree. I agree. Well, that comes into play if you're binary or non-binary or you're semi-binary. It all turns out to be even in the wash, I guess, so to speak. So anyway, we whatever the hell that means.
hey,
We
I am all about social ethics and being behind that, but when it comes to sports and fighting, there's just certain things. For me, very specifically, it's about the science behind actual uh, the actual chemicals.
yeah, I agree. I know what you're saying.
That's what it is. So to me, I just have an issue with somebody that has a testosterone boost
Yeah.
or an estrogen boost. Either one of them could actually uh, make the difference, all the
Yeah,
difference in a
it's
fight.
true.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
I'd like to see one of the better, bigger trans athletes in a combat sport go up against Dr. Fauci and beat the crap out of him. But that's just me. Anyway, let's go, Brandon, on that note. So we've got a great, great show in the store for
go
you
Brandon.
here. Let's go. You know what? At UFC 270, Brandon Moreno, who's an amazing guy, former champion, barely lost by a whisker, Mexican national, and a huge Mexican American and Mexican national crowd were cheering for him. But what do you cheer when you're cheering on a fighter named Brandon? Let's go, Brandon.
Yeah, no,
And
that's
so,
awesome.
right, it was perfect. So you had a double great message going on there. And, but Brandon's an amazing guy. He'll be back. We may see the fourth matchup between him and the man they call Figgy, Davidson Figueroa. And that was an amazing fight. Heavyweight fight was not as amazing, but was quite interesting. and I was there covering it for MMA Power Hour. Had a great exchange with a lot of fighters there, and our a special secret guest who wasn't on the fight card that was there was our friend Beneil Dariush,
Right.
and got to have a good exchange and talk to him only about a month out from his fight with Islam Makhachev. And remember, last week we talked to Makhachev's coach, Javier Mendez, about it, and now we get to talk to Beneil here about that fight as well. So very, very good. If you want to see, we have a lot of good things to offer. If you want to find out about fights, check out our footage, because if we're not having it in studio, we'll go to an event and we'll talk to the people and that are in the biggest fights and get their thoughts on everything. So stay tuned to this channel, MMA Power Hour, for the best MMA information, entertainment, and chat around. And we always do our best to provide that. And if we fail sometimes, then no one's perfect. But we definitely try our best. Dr. Adam Roorda, we're going to have some.
It looks like we have our first guest
Do we?
waiting in the waiting room.
Okay, so yeah, let's do it right on time. Why don't we bring him in? Darrion, can you hear me? Darion the Wolf Caldwell, can you hear me? DC.
DC, Darion Caldwell. We are waiting on the first guest, Darion here.
We are, but now Harrison, could you see anyone in there? Was Adam seeing things? No, our engineer doesn't see anyone in there. So that was a false alarm. Was that a false flag event just then, Adam?
It might have been.
It might have been.
Oh, his audio is still connecting.
There we go.
That's what's
Okay,
up.
so yeah, we're gonna find out. We're gonna see what happens here. What a great engineer here, Harrison.
You guys are seeing me look away from Colin and the screen. I'm sitting here looking at our monitor. So when you see me looking away, that's what I'm looking at.
But then
while we're waiting here, for anybody that wants to ask any of our guests any questions, feel free to pop them up. It's a little hard for us. I can see some of them pop up. We don't always have the chance to get to anybody, but if you throw a tip up there, we'll see that. We'll be able to go ahead and get the question asked, as long as it's not too out there.
Right, within reason. All questions within reason.
Right.
Because all three of our guests are fighting in the next 5 days. We've got two of them fighting in the big Bellator 273 event. We got Lucas Brennan coming up, looking to continue his undefeated streak, and we got Darion Caldwell, the Wolf, looking to continue his great career, former champion, a big fight there. And then we have Miles Johns, who's going to be fighting in the UFC this Saturday. So all three of these gentlemen were kind enough to jump in here on a Tuesday night, and we're really looking forward to talking to them. And yeah, if you want us to ask any questions of them, just shoot us a tip. And if you want to ask any questions of us, no need to tip, although we'll take it if you want to. If you want to throw it at us, we sure could use it. Darion Caldwell says he's been trying to jump on. So he thought that's 7:10 Arizona.
Oh shit!
Hey, Darrion, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Fabulous. Yeah, 7:10
there we
Arizona
go.
time. Yeah, so we're all good because you're in Arizona, right? Getting ready to fight, right?
Yeah, I'm in Arizona. My bad, fellas. I've been trying to get a hold of y'all. I started texting y'all and all that.
No problem. Hey, all respect to you. We appreciate you. And like I said, if someone's only 2 minutes late, you're doing better than probably 80% of everyone else that jumps on to talk to the media. So we appreciate you, man. Let me give you a proper introduction since we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, super happy to have this next guest on the show for only the second time. We talked to him a year or so ago, and happy to have him back. The man they call the Wolf, former Bellator champion, Darion Caldwell. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Man, appreciate you guys for having me back.
My pleasure. So how's it been going for you in this crazy pandemic world, man? It's funny because everyone thinks about all their friends and their family, and everyone's having a hard time, but I don't really ever hear anyone ask fighters, man. It's like, I guess it's got to be similar for you. The only difference is that you're in way better shape and way healthier than the majority of us, so you have that going for you. But
yeah,
what has it been like, man? Did you have any interruption in the last couple of years of being able to go to the gym or work out, or what's life been like for you in this crazy pandemic situation?
Yeah, at first it was really, really rough. We all got hit hard. We're kind of like, oh, I think we'll come back, and then we got stopped again. Then we were on this lockdown. So that kind of, when I was living in California when it began.
Mm-hmm.
kind of dampened everything, kind of just put a halt to all the training that I was, the majority of the training I was doing in terms of, when you're in California, uh, for the most part, you got gyms that you'll travel here to get this part of your training. You'll travel here,
Hmm.
maybe you go to OC or you go to Inland Empire for this, So
Right.
you're in 2 or 3 different cities, any given day, And so once, you got towns shutting down and, people's schedules all messed up, it just changed everything. So um, fortunately for me, I was able to continue to train, but just not with the right bodies,
Right. Right.
like this is a sport where you got to have the right bodies training with you if if you want to be at a certain level,
Right.
Um,
You can't just
um,
grab your brother or your cousin or anything like that.
yeah, nah, and believe me, they all for it. Mom Dukes a scrap with me, Pops a scrap with me,
Right.
my brother, you know, family is they all for it, but at the end of the day, you got to have that high level training. You got to be able to get in there and compete, So
Absolutely. It has been a challenge. It really has, man. Are you still based in California, or you said you were? Did you move on somewhere else? Or if I could ask, where you living nowadays?
so toward the end of the pandemic, I made a transition over out to Florida,
Nice.
over at Sanford MMA. Um, I kind of was talking to Greg Jones for a while,
Hmm.
Henry Hoof, for a minute,
Hmm.
and kind of always just like planted had that seed planted that I could possibly end up in Florida, and then we jumped into the tournament, and it was a potential fight against Adam,
Hmm.
and so that kind of slowed things down there. And then once me and Adam fought, I was still in the tournament, wanted to, finish through, and um, we lost in the semis, and we made that transition over in January of 2021. So I've been in Florida for a year. It's been my home. I bought a house there. You know, um, I've really just hit the ground running in terms of the team. I just I felt a part of the team first week I got there. And so um, it's just flowing right now for me.
Excellent. I like to hear that. And I love Florida. I'm a big person for people having their rights, not to have to wear a mask everywhere and not to have to shut down people's private, personal, small businesses. So I
That
love
part,
Florida.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And so Sanford MMA, man, that has so many good people. Can you let me know some of the people that you were working with, as long as it's not a secret? I'm not trying to get you to throw anything out there you don't want known, but as much as you can let me know, who's been working with you for this camp, and who do you have around like the bantamweight or featherweight type of range that is over there at Sanford MMA that you get good work from.
Well, we got a lot of younger guys, who, and obviously I'm a vet in the sport. So,
Hmm.
um, I've been around for 10, 15 years, and so for me to see the newer level of fighters is amazing. We got a lot of good young guys, starting with, Mitch McKee, who's an All-American college wrestler,
Hmm.
for him to come in to Sanford, and bring that wrestling pedigree and that strength that most of us we kind of eventually as a fighter you go away from that. You start to pick up other tendencies and habits. So to have that in the room has been great. We also got guys like Ronnie. We got guys like Nick Lentz has been a big huge impact.
Great fighter there,
Just
Carney. Yep.
you know, I really feel like overall, there's not really one guy I could pinpoint because it's so much talent in there. I
Absolutely.
think I think it's just a wave of, hungry fighters, who really just want to see the best for each other, and
Absolutely.
the atmosphere that's been created over there is really really amazing. Honestly, it just reminds me of like a college atmosphere. Guys pushing each other to be great. You know, um, but we just happy to get paid now, you know. So
Absolutely. I think it is a really good thing. And I remember about a year or so ago, you were definitely jumping up in to corner some of these younger guys, and a lot of people were having great results working with you. And since you fight at featherweight, I would imagine that the weight classes of people that you usually train with are going to be what, anywhere from maybe 135 to 155 primarily.
yeah, I'm 35 to 55, you know. So you know, and I really feel like that's, you know, our strongest side of the gym, you
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
is the lighter guys, you know. Um, for for us though, we got to start putting the pieces together, you
Yep.
know.
Yep.
Uh, like we just, I mean, my last fight was a loss, you know. Um, a few other of us, you know, lighter weight classes, 35ers in particular, you
Hmm.
know, who we really just take pride in, you know, being the bantamweights at the gym, you know, and trying to hold that to a standard of high level fighting. You know, we want to win, you know, and so that's we actually recently had a conversation, myself and Randy Costa and Ronnie and
Hmm.
you know some of the other 35ers who at the gym. We just like, man, we it's time for us to like we got the tools. Now we just got to make it happen, you know. Um, we put in the work. Now we just got to go out there and make it happen, you know. And so I feel like having having small talks like that amongst each other is just gonna bring out the best of us, you know, best in each other, you know. So it's the little things that we've been doing like that this year, like 2022, like that I really feel like is gonna catapult the lighter weight classes at the gym in Sanford. You know, I really feel like we're gonna thrive this year, you know.
Absolutely makes sense. That's what it's about. Really have a game plan and really be focused and positive. And I think your last fight wasn't the McKee fight. It was a fight where it was like a split decision, wasn't it?
Yeah, I lost a split decision
That was
last
so
time.
close. That was so close. I heard. Did you feel that could have gone either way, or did you feel you won, or did you feel you lost, or do you feel that could have been like a draw?
That was like the hard Gucci fight for me, like where I thought I won, you know.
Yeah.
I thought I did enough to win, but you know, uh I'm not the judge, you know. I'm not I can only uh I think I need to dominate in order for me to get a win. You know, if it's close, then whether I'm the champion or not, I don't think people give me that benefit of the doubt, you know.
Yeah.
For whatever reason they're not, but it is what it is. I feel like when it's closer fights and I should be the guy who probably won. I don't get that benefit of the doubt, but that just means I got to do more, you know. And
Absolutely.
so
I
for me, there's go ahead.
No, I was going to say, yeah, I'm with you. That kind of was a story of my life, and I never competed on any pro level in fighting, but in any kind of little competitions, it seemed that was my story. If it was close, they usually said, "Oh, that he's good for the loss," and I'd be like, "I don't why, I don't know why." So I can relate to you, man. But yeah, continue on. What were you saying?
That short end of the stick, you know. But you know, for me, it's about just improving on the smaller things. You know, for me to lose those fights, it shows like and go back to those fights. I see things in areas that I can, you know, have done better. So, I mean, it's like I'm almost beating myself up to the point where it's like, damn, all right, I guess you deserve that loss because you know you should have done this right here. You should have done this right here. You should,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, uh, I take them and I move forward. You know, I feel like I've always been a guy who just rolls with the punches and move forward, regardless of you know what's been thrown at me.
Without a doubt, and that's the way to do it. Especially fights that are so close when they go to the judges. Man, so many people and fans even know that so many people have losses on their records that could very well be wins. We talk to people all the time that sometimes have 3 or 4 or 5 split decisions or majority decisions, and like most of them have gone against them. And it's just you had a good performance, and that's the key. So this matchup is interesting. I think you got Enrique Barzola. Is that right?
Yes,
And
yes.
he was a guy who had fought his last 5 or 6 fights, I think, in the UFC, and he was
Okay.
actually doing pretty darn well. Do you when that happens, do you personally, or do some guys in Bellator? I know it's two separate questions. Ever look at it like, okay, we got to beat this guy because this guy's coming over representing the UFC. So we have to make a statement against this guy, or we really want to make a statement against this guy. Do you ever feel that way? Does anyone in Bellator feel that way, or is that nothing you ever
For
really?
me, I feel like absolutely. I feel like since I've been a champion, my thing has been defend Bellator,
Mhm.
and I don't feel like I've done the best job at it, up until, I've showed up,
Mhm.
I went out to Tokyo or, Japan, and I fought Haraguchi for 3 rounds before I lost, but, I didn't get it done, and so now it's about showing up big for Bellator, it's about showing like there is still levels, a champion in Bellator is not a regular fighter in the UFC. It's just not the same. And so I'm gonna just go out there and just prove like it's just levels, And so that whole UFC is way better than that's nonsense. Like we're gonna prove that this week.
I agree. I agree, and I think there is evidence of that. That a lot of UFC fighters will go over there. Some of them really with a lot of upside left in their career, and they don't dominate Bellator fighters. A lot of them will come over there and lose, and so you guys have a great organization there. I mean, this is something I know that we can't do anything about, but I just wish somehow excuse me, that the publicity machine and the money machine could get behind Bellator. I wish we could be seeing more billboards out up in the air, like 100-foot billboards talking about the next
Yeah.
Bellator fight. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to get you to be complaining against your bosses or anything, but I hope that somehow maybe that can happen because it's such a great organization. It's been around like what, maybe like 12 years now or 15 years. Do you know the exact date?
Yeah.
Something like
It's
that.
like 2008.
Right. And so I just think that, there's so many great fighters there that, I just hope that sometime soon there will be more promotion. But anyway, I know you can only, you can only, look out for you and just keep doing what you can. But this is a good fight for you. I think the odds makers have it right about even. I think a couple may have him a slight favorite. Maybe one has you a slight favorite. Do you ever look at the odds? And if so, does that make sense to you in this fight? Or do you think, it should be a wider gap with someone a bigger favorite?
Um, I think. Well, I think whenever a guy from UFC is coming over, that's gonna give him a bigger draw in terms of the odds.
Right.
Um, so I think what balances that out is, you know, the questionable losses that I've had.
Mm-hmm.
The, you know, I mean, it's only been questionable losses in the last few years, I guess, in my weight class. So,
Right.
um, I think it is what it is. I'd like to be, I mean, the underdog,
Mm-hmm.
just because my fans get to bet and win on me,
Right.
because that's important too. Like having, like, my fans want to make money off of me as I do with them watching me fight. Um, so make sure you go out there and bet on me this weekend because I'm telling you, you're gonna win some money.
I like it. I like it. And I think I actually interviewed you in person at a Bellator event like about 3 years ago in Los Angeles. Did you fight in a Bellator Los Angeles like 3 years ago? Do you remember?
Yeah, I fought Henry Corrales, I believe.
I think it was.
Or
I think it
was
was.
it Corrales or
A-
no? It wasn't Borg. It was Corrales.
And on that same card, I think Sergio Pettis was on the card and Juan Archuleta, I think, right?
Yeah, that was the Corrales fight
Yeah,
for
man.
sure.
It's weird because that was like a little bit before the pandemic. Sometimes it almost seems like, with how crazy the pandemic has been, it almost seems like looking back at stuff that was just before that. It seems like just yesterday sometimes, but then sometimes it seems like it was so long ago. You know what I mean? Like I can picture walking around there for the media day. Literally, it almost in a way feels
Uh,
like it was like a month ago, but then in a way it
uh,
doesn't.
yeah, bro, that was literally right before the pandemic hit. I had fought Adam that January 29th
Right.
was the day. Oh, and then or the 28th, right? One of the two.
Something like that.
It was
Yep.
the January 28th, 29th, same. And then the pandemic hit. I remember going to Mexico like right after in February, and I got hit. I got real sick, and I didn't know what was going on, so we had to leave Mexico.
Mm,
And come to find out, like the Corona thing started. I was just diagnosed with a regular flu and
right.
stuff like that.
Right.
I got I definitely had something that was different, you know. So
Yeah.
I feel like I got it smacked. I got smacked early. That's why if you see the press conferences with me and AJ and stuff, like you see me wearing the mask and stuff, like I kind of knew like something was up early, you know,
Right. Right.
early,
You
early
weren't feeling good.
than most people did, you know.
Right. That makes sense. I'm sure you'd love to have that one back. Although are you still at featherweight, or did you go down to bantamweight, or where are you going to be at for this fight?
Right now, I'm going to get that bantamweight title. I go get that bantamweight belt, and then I'm going to fight AJ.
Okay,
You
there
know,
you go. I like that. I like that. Were you
like
surprised that?
whoever's, you
Go ahead. I'm
know,
sorry.
want them belts. You know,
No doubt,
that's
man.
the goal, you know, just to get back to top spot.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Were you surprised that AJ handled a pit bull like that, or does that come down to something that would probably not happen if they fought 10 times?
Um, I wasn't surprised, just because I know AJ. He has like he's more like if he's gonna win that fight, it's got to be like that. You know,
Right. Right.
I think AJ's gonna beat Pitbull 10 times out of 10, probably not. You know,
No.
Pitbull like, but I do believe AJ has his tools to do exactly what he did. You know,
Right.
and in a 25-minute fight, like all it takes is one.
Is
So
exactly. Is that fight set with AJ and Pitbull's brother yet at lightweight? Do you know? I think they're close.
that that will be fire.
That should be because Pitbull's brother is bigger. I mean, like for a little while, it was looking like the bigger Pitbull, Patricky, who I think is also older, was like a far inferior fighter. But lately, he's been coming on, and he is bigger. So like, yeah, I think that should definitely be like more than likely AJ probably just won't go in there and smoke him. What do you think?
More than likely he will though.
Oh, you think?
Like I mean, I don't I don't see any difference in their style matchups. Except uh I think tricky floats a little bit more. But that makes sense. I
Yeah.
feel like the styles that they have is going to be the same thing. Where age is longer, he's rangier. I think Pitbull's got to have somebody who he can walk down and be in front of. And
Right.
I don't think that's going to.
Right. Now, if AJ wins that and he feels real comfortable up at 55, that could make your future fight kind of more difficult. You probably realize that. Although you never know. I mean, I guess a man can move up and down. Although to be honest with you, AJ I think is like 27 or something, and it's almost like Conor McGregor. You start to say, man, if this man's up at 55, would we ever see him again at 45? I guess anything's possible, though, right?
Yo,
Yeah, Darrion. I guess anything's possible, or do you think it's possible that if AJ feels comfortable at 55, he may just stay there?
I think he's gonna stay at 55 if he wins that title.
Right.
I don't see any reason to defend the title at 45.
Right.
If you win at if you win at 55s, but I don't know. He might have other game plans.
Yep, that's very true.
Uh, I
Very true.
mean,
You never know.
it's yeah, to defend the belt at 55 is a little different than winning it.
That's true. That's true.
So it's
It'd be interesting because is Aaron Pico is Pico still at 45 or is he at 55? Do you know?
Pico's still 45.
Okay, because that'd be interesting to see if they fought because they trained together for a little bit. I remember, a while back. But hey, I
Would
know
be an interesting
it.
fight.
It would be, huh? Who would you pick in that one?
Because Pico's strong.
Yeah.
And he's pretty explosive and athletic. Um, and I feel like AJ he doesn't do well with guys that
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
They're explosive, like can balance out his athleticism. You
Yeah.
know,
Yep.
so that's why I know like I'm a bad matchup for AJ.
Right.
Despite the outcome of what went down. Like I really feel like the right training camp, right shit going down.
Without a
The
doubt.
stories.
Yeah, without doubt. If you were sick, going into that, that does make a huge difference. And it's tough, man, because it's like, that's one of the things that I think some people don't know is that, like, you guys have to have a paycheck. It's just kind of like if someone was told, that they shouldn't go deliver pizza if they're not feeling good. If they have a family and they have a baby that needs food, they're going to go deliver pizza. You don't
Ex-
you don't have a choice. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Right. So a lot of people don't realize that there are sometimes a fighter fights in very not ideal circumstances, and then all of a sudden you're like, man, I don't know what happened with that performance. And then all of a sudden you see them after that and they look really good. So it does make a difference. Speaking of which, the main event with Francis Ngannou, man, I was there covering it in the UFC against Cyril Gane. Did you watch that this past Saturday?
Yeah, I watched that, man.
So interesting, right? And then Francis said that his knee was torn up before that
Yeah.
fight, right? And someone brought up I heard one guy brought up a good question. Not that we're trying to throw any shade on Francis Ngannou for saying that, but
You can't
but so,
press the demand.
right. But now here's a question for you. If his
Yeah,
knee was all tore up like that,
yeah.
how would he get cleared to fight? Maybe you can answer. Do they somehow check just a bunch of stuff having to do with concussions and your brain and your heart, but they don't really check to see if you have any sort of structural injuries? Is that kind of why someone could
Well,
maybe be
sometimes,
cleared? How does that work?
sometimes like you could be injured and your your shit's still triggering, like your shit's still firing. So like you're hurt, but you know, do you have to go to the doctor and tell him you're hurt?
No,
Like
right? And if you
or
don't
can you
go,
continue to train?
right, and then they're not going to test for that. Sorry to interrupt you, but am I right that a doctor may not be looking to see how your joints are doing or if your knees hurt to clear you for a
That part.
fight, right?
Yeah, if my elbow's hurting, and I go in there limping, he's not like he doesn't know about my elbow, but he knows about my knee. So he's gonna
Interesting.
focus on the knee and not the elbow. So
Interesting.
uh I think fighters, were tough and like you said, you don't fight, you don't get paid. So you gotta
Exactly.
do what you gotta do sometimes.
Exactly. What did you think of the co-main event, man? One division below you at flyweight, man. That fight was definitely fire, wasn't it? Figueiredo versus Moreno, number 3. What did you think of that? And did you think the victory was deserved by Figueiredo?
Yeah, I thought he did. I thought he knocked him down twice. So
Right. Yep.
I mean, it I mean, it looked like Figueredo won. Um, I know Brand Moreno he got a lot of output, but um, I don't think he did enough this fight. I think that they scored it the right way.
Yeah. If you were the matchmaker, and then over there they got Pantoja, they've got Kai Kara France, they've got I think one more guy who I keep on blanking on, I think. But would you go ahead right away and make Moreno Figueiredo 4, or would you feel one of those other guys deserves to get in there first?
You gotta know like these other 25ers are like, fuck, bro. Is this guy really gonna skip the line again?
Right. I remember
Like,
who the third guy is. Starting up to Asker Askarov. You got Kai Kara France, Asker Askarov, and Pantoja. But yeah, go ahead with your thought.
I would I would probably run that fourth one back.
Yeah,
Just because like
because
those other guys are cool.
right.
Those other guys are cool, but it doesn't really do anything for me. Like, it doesn't really give me that tickle under my nose, like to where I'm like, oh shit, I need to see that.
Right, right.
Like now after 4, I'd love to see another 5. so,
Right, right.
so that's the problem with the flyweight division. Like really, like we like the other flyweights, but it's like we don't really care to see anybody fight for a title right now if it's not these two because they are the clear cut best two, or it's not Henry Cejudo.
Right, right.
It's like everybody else is like just like who did
Who are they, right?
Kai fought
Kai Car
Cody
France, who's Izzy.
Garbrandt,
He's one of Izzy's
and
guys. He beat
that's a good
Garbrandt.
win for him.
Right.
That's a good win for him. But it's just not the win that you need to be trying to get a title fight.
I agree.
So,
I agree. And then the Russian Askar Askarov, I don't think can speak English well, so he hasn't been able to do any promotion for himself. And then Alexander Pantoja, I think, also doesn't speak English, so he hasn't really been able to do any promotion for himself. Plus, this fourth fight would be the rubber match. Normally, a rubber match, right, has to be a third fight. But between
okay.
Moreno and Figgy, they both have one win and one draw. So the fourth match would actually be the rubber match.
Oh, they draw. It
Yup,
was a
yup,
draw, huh?
yup. The first fight, right? And
I thought
so,
Figueredo won the first one.
no. First one was a draw, and
Oh,
right, and
okay.
second one Moreno dominated and stopped him, subbed him, and
Yes,
then and
yes.
then Figueredo came back. But it's interesting. Figueredo always would have a hard time making the weight. And
Yeah.
I know one of his trainers and managers, former UFC fighter Valid Ismail. He was
Okay.
he trained back with some of my teachers, my jiu-jitsu, Fabiano Iha and Paulo Tiago. So I know him. I've interviewed him a couple of times. Interviewed him with Paulo Costa when Costa was at the top. So I ran into him there in the press room. And I said,
Okay.
man, your guy Figueredo looked really good. I said, in all honesty, I wasn't sure that him being 6 years older than Moreno at flyweight, I wasn't sure he was going to be able to come back and reinvent himself.
Hmm.
And he said, yeah, man. He said, and you know what? He said, Figueredo normally is like the last guy to weigh in. And he said this time Figueredo was on weight at 11 o'clock at night, the night
Hmm.
before. Yep.
Hmm.
He said it was just smooth. It just everything was smooth.
Yeah, I think that was a difference maker in his discipline in his camp.
Yeah, yeah. It's and it's cool because he's 34 and at flyweight, a lot of people would say those numbers don't really crunch real well, but he showed that they
Yeah.
do. You just have the discipline and time. So Barzola, this should be a great fight, and I think this one, man, I got a good feeling that you're going to take this out of the judges' hands, whether it's a stoppage or whether it's just that it's going to be a dominant win. But I know you're going to be going for it to make this happen on Friday, and that's in Arizona. How do you like Arizona? Have you been there before?
I lived in Arizona before.
Nice.
I love it out here.
Nice. That's cool. And there's some other good people on the card, man. Do you know which fights other than yours on the Bellator card this Friday are you looking forward to watching?
Who the Sheik fighting?
Who is that?
The Sheik.
The Sheik. Oh man,
Yeah.
I gotta admit, man, I'm not good on knowing everyone's nickname. You mean Sabah Homasi? No. Is that who you mean?
Yeah.
He's got someone good. He's got someone really, really good. I forget the name, but that's the fight you're
He
looking
got
for.
crushed. Uh-huh.
What's that? Yeah, he's got the wrestler. I forgot that guy's name.
He got one of Khabib people, huh?
Right, I believe so.
Mhm.
That's gonna be a good fight. Who's the headliner?
I'm looking forward to that one.
Nice.
Obviously, yeah, of course. I'm looking forward to that Bader fight. That title fight is always, because if we being honest, I think Bader can give Ngannou a run for his money.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Bader's good, and this is Bader at heavyweight, right?
Exactly. I like Bader at heavyweight against Ngannou.
Nice. Yeah, it would be something. It's true because his wrestling is way, way better, and it's funny.
I like that.
Yeah, that would be exciting. And Bader's over there in Arizona, and he wrestled at Arizona State, so the crowd's going to be going crazy. Definitely for him. That's going to be a good card. It's going to be a good card. And also we got coming up here later in our show, we got Lucas Brennan. You may be familiar with him. He's a good upcoming young guy, and he's going against a guy who had fought a UFC fighter really close, Ben Lugo, I think. And what's interesting is the guy that Lucas is fighting barely lost a split decision against a UFC fighter, Natan Levy, and the odds makers, right? And that was
prelim card fight.
What's that? Yeah,
is that prelim.
Yeah, that's gonna be a prelim. I think they still have Lucas on the prelim. He's 6-0 now, but he's coming up, man. He's a talented guy. His dad was a UFC veteran, Chris Brennan, back in the day, and he had a lot of great fights. He had funny enough, he was primarily a grappler, but he had some striking, and he had a knockout win over AJ McKee's dad like 20 years ago with a kick. He landed a
Really?
kick. Yep, knocked out Antonio McKee in like 2003, or something
I
like
thought
that.
I thought Tone was undefeated though.
You thought who was undefeated? Oh, Tonio?
I thought
No, he had a couple.
yeah.
He had a streak. Tonio had a streak of about 15 wins in a row. He did, but
Ooh,
he had a couple losses before that, and then as you know, a
okay.
couple after that. Yeah, no, he was a great fighter. It's too bad that by the time he was in one of the more prominent, recognized organizations, he was 40. And I remember he always used to say that Dana White was personally trying to keep him out for years, and that sucks because when he was on a streak in the IFL and other stuff like that, man, he was amazing. I'll tell you one thing that was interesting about Antonio McKee, Senior. I interviewed Tyron Woodley about 5 years ago, with Antonio McKee Sr. as my co-host, and Tyron said that he's never felt anyone stronger on the ground grappling than
That
Antonio
part.
McKee. Yeah, than Antonio McKee.
Yeah.
He said it was insane, the strength he had, the grip strength, and
Yeah.
just
I got the
yeah,
same story, bro.
yeah, you know that
Yeah. Yeah, I know that for sure. Like,
very true.
he's got different grips. So
Yeah,
I was like, damn, bro.
yep,
Like this dude, like what happened to Mr. like Uncle McKee? Like, I mean, he could have been UFC champ, but
yep.
it seems like holding him back. Like,
Yeah, yeah, they just didn't give him the opportunity. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But, anyway, man, so this should be a great fight. Enrique Barzola, do you like to make any predictions, or what do you think? How do you think this fight
I'm
may
getting this.
play out?
I'm gonna get this boy out first round.
Nice. Nice.
All right.
And then,
I just want to break. I just want to break this kid.
yeah, it makes sense. You got to take it out of the judge's hands, right?
That part.
Yeah,
It's been
absolutely.
a while since I got finished.
Yeah, I know you can do it, man. You have the skills, and it looks like you're feeling pretty good, and you're focused and determined. And I always find also when someone gets ripped off of a decision, frequently they win their next fight because the karma comes back around. Because all of a sudden you got that crappy karma to get shortchanged on the Horiguchi. So I got a good feeling that this is where the good karma comes in, man. So all you got to do, I think, is go do you. And I think this is going to be a good result. And I look forward to it. So you say it's not getting out of round one.
Nah, he ain't getting out of round one.
Awesome.
I give him 2.5 minutes tops.
Say about 2.5 minutes tops, you said?
Yeah.
Awesome. I appreciate that. What's the best place that people can find you and support you on social media? Or do you have any products or any projects or anything you're involved in?
I am on Instagram and Twitter at The Wolf MMA. Also, you can find. I just recently started getting into French Bulldogs and breeding French Bulldogs, and so you can find us at Caldwell Frenchie Club. That's IE Club.
Awesome.
If you ever interested in just learning about the breed or looking for a dog, is any color or DNA specific, I'm your guy to go to. So, in all the MMA world. So, yeah, scream at me.
Excellent. Will do, man. Always love someone that loves animals, and those are cool dogs, man. Well, I appreciate you, Darion Caldwell, man. You're always a respectful guy. You always are a good interview. You don't make me have to work hard looking silly. I appreciate that because sometimes for the media, we got someone that comes in doesn't have anything to say, and then we got to try to pull it out of them. You always are prepared with a good chat and a good interaction back and forth. So I
It's
appreciate
always
you.
good. Like always good. We got to catch up again soon. Sooner than that 1-2 year span.
Absolutely, we'll do that for sure. We'll be in touch. Can't wait to see you on Friday. We'll be cheering for you, my friend. Really appreciate your time.
Appreciate you.
You got it. Have a good night.
You too.
Thanks. And that was Darrion, the Wolf Caldwell. Can't wait to see him, Adam, come back and make this happen here on this Friday on the main card. Enrique Barzola, I think, was a 6-fight veteran of the UFC, having won like 4 out of his 6.
Right.
And this is going to be a good fight where they really do have to defend Bellator, I think, because the UFC fighters go there, and the UFC, especially Dana White, maybe even Endeavor guys are looking saying, yeah, our guys that don't stay with us are going to go beat your guys, And so I think Bellator's in a position where they got to say, no, they're not. They're not.
No, not necessarily. Not when it's a guy like Darion Caldwell. So
Yeah, I know. Darion's going to know. He's going to take it. It's going to be an exciting fight, though. Nearly even money on that fight. Barzol's a tough guy, but I think Darion's going to make it happen. Good guy, and I like the Wolf. And French Bulldogs, you know about dogs. Do you know anything about French Bulldogs? What's the difference between them and regular American Bulldogs?
Well, a lot.
Well,
The size.
Is it size? Which is
American Bulldog or
well, which one? I mean, I'm sorry to put you on the spot 'cause I know you know dogs. I know you're not a bulldog expert, but so one of them are going to be a lot bigger, you think?
well, yeah, the American Bulldog.
Okay, all right.
French Bulldogs?
Yeah.
Frenchies are the ones that are like this big.
Oh, okay. So they're called Frenchies. That's why he had that Frenchie, dresser or something like that. All right.
Yeah.
So they're little. Now, is that the same thing as a pug, kind of, or no?
They're not really similar, but about the same size.
Interesting. That's cool.
I mean, listen, a French Bulldog, yeah. I could see where you would say similar. French Bulldog has the bigger jowls.
Okay.
They don't hang down like you're talking American Bulldog.
Right.
Yeah, the pug is just it's a flat face, small head.
I gotcha. Now, do you only have to French Bulldog? Do you have to get him French dog food or something like that, or is that?
That's not even a thing, my man.
There isn't any French dog food?
Well, I mean, I'm sure there is. There is probably some high-end French.
Yeah, you might want that, or you might even have to make, French
well, if it's
food.
anything like my spoiled dog, and yes, my girlfriend, I'm looking at you right now, girlfriend. You always feed the dog human food.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
That's
she's good
it.
about it. But there's a lot of people that do that,
Yep.
and it's
You got to
it's
get 'em.
really interesting.
Yeah,
to say
definitely,
the
man.
least.
I like that one.
My dog doesn't get his hamburger, he gets upset. It's
I
either
got it.
hamburger or chicken or tuna. He loves tuna too.
Nice. Yeah, he's a good dog. And what's your dog much?
The best thing about my dog is when I go to open up the string cheese out of the fridge, he freaks out over it, and he just gets like a little hair out of off of it.
That's
full of
funny.
it. But the second I open the fridge and he hears that, from
he's right there
from the packaging,
I love
literally he'll jump up from the other side of the
I
house
love
and
it.
run
I love that.
straight to me.
Yeah, people are putting up some good fun animal videos. Like someone puts up, those Bengal cats or those cats that are like bigger, much bigger than real cats. I think I see someone puts up one, and their cat likes to have like a chicken, like a chicken drumstick,
Right.
and they'll like hold it out, and the cat will like bite down on it and start growling, and then he'll swat the person's hand.
Oh.
So it's like he'll bite, and the person keeps their hand there, and he'll like get that out of there. It's like he takes a chicken and is like, get that hand out of there, man. Chicken's gone. Don't be holding your hand out here like I'll bite that if you know. So
Oh, yeah, I don't want smacked on the head like that, right?
no, it's almost like don't make me think that you're gonna try to hit me after you have just given me my chicken leg, because that's not gonna work. Yeah,
You're talking about that video that was just floating around.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah.
No, that was funny. That
Yeah.
and the
Get
dog's
that
just
out
like,
of
no. Do you really think I'm that stupid?
No.
That's a good way to train a dog.
Is it? No.
I would say it is. You don't no negative reinforcement
Yeah.
with them,
Yeah.
but you're doing it on your own hand, right?
Yeah.
With a puppet. And,
Right.
Yeah.
A weird one that I saw was some dogs are behind like a fence somewhere, like almost like, but then and a cat. Like I've never seen a cat this aggressive. A cat is on the other side of the fence, this short fence, and the dog is like smelling near the fence, and the cat is like on his hind legs, like hitting the fence where the dog is. He's like looking like he's like really pissed off. I've never seen a cat act that weird. And then someone put the dialogue to it where the dog like puts his nose to try to smell, and the cat hits him, and then the dialogue says, "Oh, is that an invitation?" And then the cat walks 10 feet around the fence, jumps in and starts running after the dog, swinging at him. I'm like, what kind of a crazy cat? And the dog is kind of big. What kind of a crazy cat is so aggressive? He's so fired up. He's hitting a fence.
That's a lot of cats, man.
Wow.
I'll tell you that. It's a lot of cats. Just like there's a lot of cats out there that get super aggressive on the street.
Yeah, man.
I'm not talking about a normal feline cat.
Right.
But
I mean,
it gets all weird with the cats out there and dogs. But,
yeah, I guess they have to.
Everybody, while you're here tuning in, thank you so much. Make sure you're hitting up our social media. It's at MMA Power Hour if you're not there. If you are on our social media, make sure to head on over to the Hannibal TV on either Facebook or YouTube, and the YouTube channel for the Hannibal TV is where you drop tips if you want to ask questions to our guests. And tonight we've got 2 more left here coming on up.
Yes.
Also, make sure to head on over to lithtoken.io. Get in on the cryptocurrency of the future. It really is. It's all about sustainability and ethics in business, and a lot of really cool things going on with physical NFTs, literally physical objects tied to NFTs through a bunch of different computational stuff. But really cool technology coming out over there. I've been working on it myself, so make sure to hit up lithtoken.io.
Absolutely. That's some nifty conversational stuff right there, man. I'll tell
And
you.
I'm getting everybody the inside scoop on our show right here.
You are. You
Yeah,
are. You
yeah.
guys got to listen, man. The doc knows about this crypto and NFTs and all the other stuff, man. You know, he knows it, just like Jim Brown.
Some would say I know more than anybody.
Well, I've got an even better line.
No joke.
I believe it. I believe it. Jim Brown in the first UFC or the second UFC, former football great, they brought him in to call the first UFC fights because in reality, no one was an expert in the United States or that spoke English, I think, in being familiar with no holds barred or vale tudo fighting. So the first team they brought in to call the first UFC fight was like I think 50-something-year-old former football player and action star Jim Brown, former 1980s kickboxing champion who was in his 50s, Bill Superfoot Wallace, and former kickboxing champion who was in her late 30s, I think, Kathy the Punisher Long. And I remember when they were asking, I think Bill was asking Jim about the guys that were fighting tonight, and Jim said they know stuff that nobody knows. So that's what I was going to say. Adam knows stuff that nobody knows when it comes to the crypto and the NFT.
There's some things I do know that nobody else does, and
That's right.
it's pretty well. I mean, there's other people that know it, but how to bring it all together in certain ways, yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
am one of those people, and
Without a doubt.
I get paid to do it. So
That's right. Yeah. So
but I also get paid to do this show, and when I say get paid, Colin and I put all of our money in
that's
this.
it. We get paid by putting the money out and believing that it's going to come back one day.
What we
Yeah.
do get paid with is likes, comments, and shares on all
Yes.
of our social media, and
Yes.
also the Hannibal TV. Make sure to help get word out, let
Yes.
people know.
Yes.
That's how we get paid, and there's no better tip for us than you guys actually dropping a tip
Yes.
and also sharing and liking.
That will really help. It really will. We appreciate that a lot, and that will make a difference. But man, so let's see. We got a little bit of time here to chat. Yeah, we got 20 minutes. So
Oh, wow.
Doc, so
20
let's
20 minutes to
We
kill.
do. I know, man. It's fabulous. So Dr. Adam Roorda, the UFC 270. I was there. I talked to everybody. It was a great time, man. I was feeling good. I had some great questions, and a lot of people gave me a lot of credit, and I'm super grateful. I'm not a big ego guy at all. I've been in I've been in the MMA world, following it since before the first UFC, and so, you know, I followed it years. I don't know how I even afforded some pay-per-views over the years. You know, I probably shouldn't have. Then I'd have a little bit of money saved. But I've been able to keep up on the sport, you know, for the entire time. So I can talk about fights that happened in the 90s, in the first decade of the 2000s, in the second decade of the 2000s, and today. Speaking of which, next year will be 30 years since the first UFC, next November. So
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, really crazy, man. I wonder if they're going to do something for that. I would think they would.
Oh, of course they
Yeah,
are.
yeah, 30th anniversary event,
Yeah.
big event. But what was interesting at this 270,
What is that called? A tricade?
something like that. What's interesting at this event is that normally if Dana White's at an event and a title fight happens, he will put the belt around the winner all the time. And he didn't put the belt around Francis Ngannou, even though he was there. And he didn't come into the media room afterward to chat with us right before Francis Ngannou was going to come into the media room. So one reporter mentioned it to Francis and said, how do you feel about Dana not putting the belt around you? Sean Shelby had to put it around you. And then Dana also not coming to participate in the in the post-fight press conference. So Francis was surprised. He didn't know about that, but they've got some issues. Then apparently it's been disclosed that Francis received a notification that he was being sued by the UFC. And so yeah, I guess it's an unpleasant situation. I guess you can't blame Dana. I don't know. I mean, you know what's interesting? I think back when Dana and the Fertitta brothers were running things, I believe Dana had a much bigger financial interest in the company. I don't think he has any now. I think he and the Fertittas were paid out. But my point is that I could see then that if there was a conflict with Francis, Dana probably would take it personally because it was literally a dispute between he and the Fertittas and a fighter. Now, though, you almost might think, Dana might not take it as personally because if there's a problem, it's really between the Endeavor Group and Francis Ngannou. But nevertheless, I think Dana has a lot of pride in the UFC and doesn't want to have a hassle, and I guess it makes sense. It's unfortunate. I mean, Francis really wants to be paid. It's interesting. What's interesting, Adam? I'd like your opinion on this. Apparently Francis was going to, his whole payout here was $600,000, even though I think they don't discuss pay-per-view points, and I believe when you're a champion, automatically you get a percentage of the pay-per-view. So the $600,000 hopefully is probably not even half of the money that he's getting overall for a successful pay-per-view, right? However, if you look at the fact that maybe he could get $2 million, I don't know, I'm just guessing, at 1.5 or 3 or whatever, and he was kind of implying that all they're promising up front, though, is guaranteed money is barely over $500,000, whereas his counterparts in boxing are getting 100 times that. And so now a story was released saying he was offered $7 million for a John Jones fight, I think, and he turned it down. And I mean, would that be published if that's not true? Do you think, or do you think that pretty much has to be true?
No, not necessarily. I mean, it just depends on a journalist that wants to throw stuff out there.
Okay.
I mean, the MMA space, you and I both know there's a lot of journalists that don't necessarily have integrity at all.
That's true. Although I think a journalist mentioned something like
journalism integrity, it's a thing.
Right.
Journalistic integrity in general is
not at an all-time high.
It's at an all-time low. Quite frankly,
right.
it's at an all-time low. In fact, it's mostly pay for play out there.
Right.
You want news covered? Pay us.
Yeah.
That's sense. One of the things that we do differently, and I hope you guys can appreciate that. We're not charging people to come on our show and give us their news. We want them here to break the news for you guys and for themselves, and that's a big difference between us and a lot of organizations in general. It's a lot of pay to play.
Yeah. And with us, it's integrity and honesty and about bringing you great information, letting you have a chance to get to know the fighters. And that's something we care about.
I just know media in general. Literally, it's pay for play all around. Yeah. And it's crazy how corrupted the journalistic space has become.
Yeah, I agree. It is interesting, though, because I think they even said that, Dana White released or the UFC released that this was offered to Francis. I mean, we'll never know.
Okay, well, if the UFC themselves put out a formal statement, is that what happened?
No, I don't think that was it. Although it was an article that I think says that.
Nah, I don't believe it.
Okay.
I honestly, unless there was a formal announcement made by the UFC, Dana or one of the press team members, I just don't believe it. Is it possible? Yes, but I'm not going to believe it until I know for a fact.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
If he was offered $7 million and he turned that down and has back-end points, then that's one thing. He would be crazy to turn that down.
You would think that wouldn't have been a good decision. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, but $7 million with no back-end points?
Maybe you could.
I could see that's what might have happened.
Yeah.
But at this point, from what I'm gathering, it's rumors.
Yeah. I heard, I
saw that on my news feed and all my social media, but I didn't take time to really look into it. Maybe I should have for this week.
Well, I read an interesting comment that someone made on that article, and this is just random people, but they said if he didn't take that and is in breach of contract now to the point where he's going to be stripped of the title, they said there won't be the demand from like a Tyson Fury to fight him if he's not the current UFC heavyweight champion. They said a lot of the appeal was it would be current UFC heavyweight champion in a boxing match fights current boxing champion Tyson Fury. And the person said, I think the interest on the part of Fury and his camp would go way down. And then if he doesn't get that fight, probably no one cares to see him fight someone who's lost, like Deontay Wilder. And then people aren't caring that much about Joshua. Then there's Usyk, but then Usyk probably wouldn't bring enough money. And then they said, so that could all be down the drain. And then Francis is left fighting in Bellator. And then even though it'd be interesting to see him fight against Ryan Bader, like Darion Caldwell just said, there wouldn't be
listen, somebody
truckload of money in that.
Francis could go to a bid, a purse bid, right? And he would totally make more than $7 million on a fight. And that's what he's saying.
Right.
Regardless, somebody would come in on a purse bid, probably 10, 12 million for him. And that's where I get that argument. I really do. It like not what the guy was commenting, but
Right.
Francis and where he's coming from is,
Yeah.
listen, for me, I could just go out and do a purse bid in boxing after getting sanctioned and with boxing, which is clearly easy to do when Anderson Silva can switch over.
And the Paul brothers.
And the Paul brothers
Yeah.
can fight. So the reality is, yes, he would get paid more than $7 million.
Gotcha. And
Hands down. I mean,
right.
you don't need to be a prime fighter to make a $10 million payday.
No. And
You
he's
can be a good fighter.
right. And he's 35 years old, so he's probably realizing he doesn't have a hell of a lot of time to waste. It'd be interesting in that Tyson Fury, in boxing, there's no weight limit. Now, Francis at one point used to be up at 265 or 263, I think. Lately, he's been more like 255, 257. If he was going to be going up against a 6'8", 285-pound Tyson Fury, do you think he might try to pack on some more muscle on his 6'5" frame, or do you think he'd feel just fine staying at 255?
He'd feel fine at 255.
Okay, because he would be the smaller man, although not maybe dramatically, but he'd be 3 inches shorter and maybe 25 or 30 pounds lighter. But so was Deontay Wilder.
I mean, both of them have a puncher's chance, so you don't know which direction that one's going. In all honesty, you just don't. And Ngannou has really picked up his game in general, his movement on his feet. He's a lot lighter on his feet now. Man, he's dangerous.
Yeah, without a
So
doubt.
I mean, watching that one, I think there would be enough money behind it, regardless of belt, and it would be a real interesting one for most people to tune into. So, hey, man, there's no love lost there. I think he really does have that opportunity, and him reaching out and saying, Dana, come on, man.
Yeah,
Like,
cough it up.
literally,
Yeah.
I can go over to boxing and do this.
Yeah.
I don't think he's wrong. I think he's actually right.
Yeah. And you know what's ironic, and not ironic, but even one fight at $12 million pretty much sets you up for life. Pretty much. It definitely sets you up for life. And so really Francis, I think isn't interested in necessarily fighting for 5 more years into his 40s or 6 more years.
Right.
And I think he's looking for the best opportunity, and you can't blame him.
I mean, listen, you've got Triller would probably pick him up on a first bid.
Yeah.
I almost guarantee you that
Yeah.
Kavanaugh over there at Triller would be all excited. I mean, I can't personally guarantee it, but I can tell you that he most likely would be interested in picking that up. So,
I'll tell you what, though, it'd be really interesting if Jake Paul was willing to take that fight, but I don't think he'd take that fight for $100 million. Well, maybe for $100 million. I think Francis would. That's just all the advantages that Jake has had, except for age. Jake would be like 9 years younger.
I feel like Jake would take it out of stupidity.
Yeah, because he would get the fuck knocked out of him.
I don't think any sanctioning body in the United States at least would allow that fight.
Right.
Possibly in Florida. I don't know.
Maybe
Florida's kind of weird. I mean, I went down there and watched Evander Holyfield.
Right. That was a disaster.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
I felt bad for him.
Yeah. But you know that
my man Vitor came through on that.
He came through. Jake Paul is now a minority owner in the Endeavor group for the UFC. Yeah, I don't know if you noticed that. So he really wants to. It's really interesting. Let me ask you this, because you've been aware of the Paul brothers for a while. Jake Paul has been pushing and arguing with Dana, saying, pay your fighters, pay your fighters, pay your fighters. I think Jake Paul even said, all right, if you don't like me so much, you hate me so much, I will retire from boxing or even combat sports, I think he said, if Dana were to sign a contract showing that fighter pay is going up dramatically. And so my question to you is a lot of this just to kind of, keep the publicity going? I mean, does a 25-year-old guy who's pretty much been wealthy since he was 21 or 18 or whatever, or well, not does Jake Paul genuinely care about fighters in the UFC that are underpaid, do you think, or is this kind of publicity for him?
I think it's a combination of the two. I think there is just a general consensus that the fighters could be paid a little better.
But does
I
Jake Paul care
also
about
think
that?
there's a general understanding that no, they can't be paid better if you want to have an organization as strong as the UFC and putting a show on pretty much every weekend. It's real difficult balance. Everybody wants to see the fighters get paid better, but there's also things that the audience doesn't know, and that's what we were talking about before, and that's back end points.
Right.
So that doesn't get disclosed. People don't talk about that. Listen, the UFC fighters coming in and just having a fight, they do get paid better than a lot of these other organizations. The one issue that I really have with the UFC is the exclusive sponsorships.
Right, where you
That's
can't
the
use
one-
your own image for anything.
That's
Yeah,
the one
yeah,
issue I have.
Yeah,
And-
it was
and-
better back in the day when the fighters could wear their sponsors on their shirt and their shorts and put a banner over the fence.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
I agree.
right.
Strongly.
And I don't think that decision being made by the UFC is the best decision to be made for the fighters.
No, it
So
wasn't. Without a doubt, it wasn't.
I understand the idea of the exclusivity. I do, as somebody who loves marketing. I get that for the brand. Now for UFC, I get that also. It helps keep it clean, slick looking, everything like that. But for them to decide how much each fighter is making out of a sponsorship
Yeah,
is a little disappointing to me.
yeah, it is, and especially when
I actually take Dana's side with the majority of his statements and his arguments that he makes with pay, but that's the one thing I do not agree on.
yeah, I know.
Dana's a wise man. I mean, he's not stupid about
No.
any of it. He's not screwing everybody over. I know
No.
he gets everybody looks at it like, oh, you get a big paycheck. No, he made a lot of sacrifices, invested a lot. He
Right.
deserves to be worth X number of dollars, but that does not mean that's how many number of dollars he actually gets.
Correct. Right.
So a lot of people don't understand the equity side, but they go into these arguments and they sit here and talk about it like they know, and it's like, guys,
yeah.
come on,
There's more to it.
there's more to it. Uncle Dana is actually really knowledgeable, and he's carrying a business. He's
Yeah.
right. He's
Yeah.
carrying a big business
Yeah.
with tons of expenses,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. I mean, it's a similar,
they need a profit sharing program, is what they need.
I mean, yeah.
yeah.
I understand that concept, and I know that they can't necessarily pay fighters 10 times more than they pay them, but could it be a little bit more? It's just kind of like the same concept of, like, say something like Walmart. Do they have to have their employees making only minimum wage, or could they make it $2 or $3 higher than minimum wage and still exist? I would think they could, but they don't want to. They don't want to. And I think that's why you're getting
well, they don't want to because they have growing pains to deal with yet. Their plans for growth aren't over.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
still planning on growing, and there's expenses with that.
Yeah.
There really are expenses with that. Now, I think there should be a profit sharing program, and that would solve everything. And I think that's the $2 that we're talking about, the $2 or $3 extra, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's really where it's at, the retirement plans. But didn't they just start that?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I think they created a pension plan for X number of fights, but yeah, I mean they're starting to figure out some form of profit sharing, and I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I think they're making moves. It's just like any other corporation. You grow fast. Sometimes you'll go to a startup and they actually have benefits packages for you, but
Nice.
90% of the time they're not going to.
Right. Gotcha.
And this is the same. I mean, how old is UFC now? 30 years?
29 years.
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
right.
So we're talking. It's been around for a while, but it's just getting that 25-year mark, 30-year mark. Somewhere in there is when people actually start talking about doing this on a large scale. When you're a fast, explosive growth company like UFC has been,
Yes.
they've already had so many other battles they had to face and put all their energy towards. And I mean, come on, man. The early days were not easy for them.
No, they were definitely mostly
I mean, it was a
small-
money dump.
Yeah,
it was a money
was.
dump
It was,
for
especially
years.
when the Fertittas first got in 2001. They put a bunch of money in. They bought it for $1 million, and apparently in the first 3 years they were losing money.
I've heard so
45.
many stories
Yeah,
from a couple
yeah,
insiders that
yeah,
I know.
yeah.
Listen, they were having troubles for a long
Yeah,
time,
without a doubt. I remember. Yeah, I
and
remember one of those early episodes. They brought in Carmen Electra to try to say, "Look who we got. We got some celebrities that like our fights," and it was, nothing wrong against her, but they were trying everything. Yeah,
I mean, the
it's
Fertittas were just dumping in
they were
millions
putting
of
in. Yeah,
dollars.
yeah.
It'd be $1 million check here, $1 million
Yeah.
check there, and
It was a
it was
risk.
a money dump.
Yeah, I think they were aware that when you start a business for the first year or two or even three, it might
It
be
was longer than that.
at a loss. Yeah, and well, they had the money too, But interesting, definitely history of UFC and MMA, and then they did good by wiping out their competition. They absorbed WEC, they absorbed Strikeforce, and they absorbed Pride. There's still a lot of people. In fact, I think there still is a class action lawsuit because of the monopoly-esque type of activities that they have. But, who knows who's on the right end, who's not. But anyway, I know that our next guest should be joining us any minute.
Any minute. And I see somebody up here says that we probably listen to Nickelback. And you know what? I actually haven't listened to Nickelback for years, but I did love one of their songs, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I don't anymore. I hate
No,
it. It makes me sick to my stomach. But
Yeah.
you know what? It's all right. If those of you tuning in like Nickelback, no love lost for you either.
No, exactly. I don't know.
I
any
might
of the
feel
songs
sorry
of
for you, but
Nickelback, but sometimes it's pretty
sometimes
soon.
you need a little Nickelback and
Yeah,
shine down,
that's
man.
it. You see.
That's a great comment. I love it.
Nice. Yeah.
No, I
right.
don't listen to Nickelback. I did at one
No,
point in time when they
no,
came out. I was like,
no.
oh, this is the coolest thing. And
At
I
one
was, I was
point,
an idiot in high school.
At one point, he was Adam Nickelback Roorda, right? Pretty much. Or no, not quite that much.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're calling me Nickelback because people were gluing nickels on my back, and
There you go.
I'm the little guy, right?
That's
So
it. You got the money. Yep, you were in the money. You were the money man.
now I got a tattoo on my neck, so I don't need the nickels.
There we
put
go.
on my back.
Pretty soon we're going to start with as little value as a dollar has nowadays. Pretty soon you're going to start probably seeing nickels and quarters in the street. I mean, it's always been pennies.
I still
but
do.
You
I already do. Nickels,
Wow.
quarters, whatever.
People
don't,
just say hell with that.
Yeah.
That's tough, man. Because it used to be if you had a roll.
It's not really that tough when you're in crypto.
That's true.
Get on over to lifttoken.io. I'm going to take that moment right there. Head on
That's
over
it.
to lifttoken.io and check it out.
And one day you won't have to say I owe so many people here and there, on your bills with Lyft.
Hey, there's a possibility if you hold long enough.
That's true.
Hey, who knows?
Man, the crypto and the stock market, all kinds of stuff. It's weird times.
It's weird times with everything going on. Man, I wonder what Endeavor stock looks like right now.
That's a good question. I wonder if they are endeavoring to improve their position.
Yeah, they probably are.
Yeah, they are, but they may not be succeeding. Who knows?
Not very many people are right now.
Hard to say. They paid $4 billion, what was it, 6 years ago for the organization or something like that. I wonder if they've made it back yet. I would think probably not quite. Wouldn't you agree, or do you think they may have?
I think they did make their money back already.
Wow, that's crazy. But anyway, well, we're looking to see, a great Bellator fight card this Friday, and we're looking to see our next guest jumping in any second here. But the good thing is, he's actually only 2 minutes late right now, so maybe.
So from the beginning of the year, Endeavor is down almost 18%.
Interesting.
Now the last 6 months, though. Last 6 months, they are up 12% from 6 months ago.
Okay. All right.
So Endeavor's doing okay long term. I'd say all in all, they've been doing that way anyways. All time, they're up 4%. That's not so bad.
No. Did you see?
It's only been about a year and a half, 2 years.
Yep. Did you see our President Brandon swear at that reporter a couple days ago from Fox News, saying he's a stupid son of a bitch? It's funny because he's like literally the image of this good old nice grandpa that was going to unite everyone is going down the toilet, and this, I mean, here's a positive thing though for people that like Joe. His personality, for people that say he's losing his faculties, isn't changing much. There's tons of clips of him cursing at people and telling people they're an idiot. And so, excuse me, in a way, that might show that he's not really losing his faculties because he's the same guy he always was. But I just think as the president is maybe not, what you're trying to convey.
He's not prudent at all.
No.
If we actually paid attention to his history, like people like I did in this last election, you'd know he is not the
Yeah.
person of utmost character.
No, he isn't. He isn't. I mean, the Let's Go Brandon is great. I mean, in all honesty, like the guy, I don't know. It's just too much. Let's see if
I mean, he is the man that attacked Anita Hill.
You're right. Yeah, there's something wrong with that dude. President Brandon has got to go, in my opinion. Let's see here. What does it say? You're looking. I see you looking at your phone. Oh, she's watching. How about that? What do you know? My girl's watching.
Oh, nice.
Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. All right.
Hey, that's how we do it here.
That's it.
We it's relaxed. We're having fun. It's
yeah, like that
we're
old.
not trying to be news reporters
No,
here.
it's like that old.
We're just trying to be news commentators and analysts.
Right. Speaking of which, do you remember that great video, early MTV video, from Dire Straits, "Money for Nothing and Your Chicks for Free," that popular '80s song? If you guys have heard of it, interesting story how that happened. So the group, some rock stars, went into an old appliance store called Good Guys that was pretty popular.
Right.
And while they were looking around, some of the guys on staff working there apparently were around the big TV sets watching one of their MTV videos, saying, "Look at that, man, that ain't working. Money for nothing and your chicks for free." And these guys ain't dumb, right? So they're like perfect. They made a song out of what retail employees were saying, watching their videos, saying money for nothing and your chicks for free.
Oh man.
But anyway,
it's a good way to get in trouble.
Yeah, I know, right? Anyway, so hoping to hear back from our guest. Okay. Oh, he's gonna good should be okay any minute. Cool. Much appreciated. That's the old dictation while on live TV here. Let me erase the part where I said dictation. That's it. Much appreciated.
Everybody get prepared to buy your dick coin, by the way.
Is that the next thing coming up other than
it is.
You got the Dogecoin? Now,
well, actually, another one, 4D token is going to be coming out soon.
There
Definitely
you go,
check
man.
that one out when it comes out.
4D token, man.
Yeah. Head on over to lifttoken.io, follow the Telegram, and we'll be able to
Yes.
give you the insight on 4D Fun Token as well.
Yes, I like that. Now tell us, who are some of the great people that have supported Lift Token, and then we're gonna have to probably jump in a minute. So you might.
Vitor Belfort's one of them.
Nice.
Absolutely.
The
Dak
phenom.
Prescott.
Dak, man.
Dak is unfortunately they're out, but hey, man,
They're tough, yeah.
The Cowboys and led by Dak is
Yeah.
big deal.
Do you know how Dak Prescott got that name? Dak, his parents were eating some of that Dak ham that came out like 30 years ago. And they said, Dak, that's a good name for a kid. This ham we're eating, Dak, is probably.
Oh, hey, man,
That might have been it, yeah. You know what I mean? No, all respect to Dak Prescott, but how many other people have you heard of named Dak except for the ham?
Actually, he's the only one that
It's him and the ham product.
Yeah, I don't know any other Daks, but I'm sure there's a few out there.
No, but I tell you what,
I'll throw out some other names.
Tell me.
Well, a lot of University of Wyoming players.
Yes.
And University of Florida. We had some Seminoles. The Gators.
Florida Gators, right?
Florida
Seminoles
Gators.
of Florida State,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Yeah. And were their names Gator?
No, there's quite a few names with it, so I'm not even going to go down that list.
No,
I know I just said I was going to throw out some names, but
that's right. We don't want to go down that rabbit hole, right?
yeah, no, there's a few too many.
Understood. Do you know?
There's like 100 different players that were putting it out about Lift Token. It was pretty
Man,
cool.
I love that. That Lift Token
But
is amazing.
speaking of Vitor Belfort, he has
Yes.
another fight coming up.
You're kidding me. Who's he fighting?
Oh shit. Well, it's
Is
Triad.
Okay, Triad Entertainment.
Triad Combat.
All right.
No, it's Triller.
Triller.
He's
nice.
fighting another Triller fight, and it's their Triad Combat that they're doing. So
Nice. They could say it's going to be a Triller when Vitor Belfort faces his toughest opponent yet in Manila.
Is it Junior? Is it Junior? I think it is.
Chavez Jr.?
No.
No, not Chavez.
Dos Santos.
Junior
No,
Dos Santos? Oh, wow.
I believe so.
That could be interesting. Man, my allergies are killing me here.
I'll let you know after this interview.
Yes.
They're right here waiting for you.
Absolutely. That would be great, man. That Vitor does not give up. And there, okay, that means, does that imply that our guest is there? Lucas Brennan, can you hear me?
Hello, sir. Yes, I can.
Awesome, fantastic. All we need to do is get video, which probably there you go, right there. Fantastic. Good to see you, my friend. We were always on Skype before. I don't think you ever got to see me. Now you can actually. It's two ways, right?
Always just hear you. Yeah.
Okay. You don't see me. They don't see us on the Zoom here, guys. Let me see. We got.
I see you.
Excellent.
Typically,
Oh, do you? I didn't realize you did on the Skype. Who knows that Skype would let that happen once in a while. Sometimes it doesn't. Anyway, it's no super treat you seeing me, but I'm always glad to see you, man. I'm excited to have you back on the show, man. I think we've talked to you like 5 times since you were 19 years old, and
quiet.
yeah.
Yes.
And I'm excited how you keep on killing it here. You have a big fight. Also, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know, this man is one of the great upcoming featherweights in the Bellator organization, second generation fighter, son of the amazing West Side Strangler Chris Brennan, and he is Lucas Skywalker. Brennan, officially welcome back to the show, brother.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, and now Dr. Adam Roorda is telling me what it is here. So here's some news here. The doctor, give me 1 second here. And okay, very interesting. He's just catching me up here. Okay, sounds good. That's great. I appreciate that. We'll talk about that. So Lucas Brennan, interesting fight you have coming up here against Ben Lugo. And one thing that I have to ask you about, and this is this Friday, is that he had a really close fight recently against UFC fighter Natan Levy. I think it was like a split decision or a majority decision. And that guy, even though that guy did lose his UFC debut, he looked pretty good. He's a tough guy out of Israel.
He did.
Yeah, out of Israel.
That guy's just announced that he's fighting again in the UFC at 155. He moved up.
Okay.
Which makes he was big. He looked big. Watch that fight. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. So here's what I find is interesting. This guy Lugo fought a close decision, barely losing to Natan Levy. And my thought would have been, okay, well, Luke is a great fighter, but if this guy Lugo is that solid, then probably maybe you would be 2 or 3 to 1 favorite. And once again, you're about a 10 to 1 favorite. And that gives you a lot of credit because, in other words, they're thinking this guy was nearly as good as Natan Levy, and you're going to absolutely annihilate him and smash him. And that kind of made my ears perk up because I believe in you, but I thought to myself, they usually give UFC fighters a lot of credit. And, right, my thought would be that they would think, okay, this dude's totally legit, and this may be a fight. But the odds makers are like, no, Lucas Brennan smashes him. What's your thought on that? Are they being like overly excited for you, do you think, as far as the odds? Or I know you're a humble guy, but doesn't that seem kind of unique that they feel this guy looked pretty solid and they feel you're going to absolutely annihilate him?
Yeah, just a little over the top. Like, I believe in myself, but like that's big numbers that they're out there. And he's got a lot of experience. I think if you're looking at amateur and pro fights, he's got 23 fights. Like I've got 8.
Right.
Right. Like he's experience. Like obviously he has more losses than me, but just as many wins, way more amateur fights. Like while I'm not upset with those odds, like it's they definitely should give him a little more credit. Like he's definitely an experienced fighter.
Yeah, that's what I think. But it's got to be also in a way a good feeling. The odds makers believe in you that much, and you're on a good track. They don't seem to be wanting to give your friends any chance of making much money on you. I mean, although right?
I've had from some friends.
What do you say? You had some heat, or what was it?
I had some complaints from some friends.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, we'll bet. It's like, I don't think you have it to make anything, but whatever.
Yeah. I mean, years ago, you could ask your dad, or you probably get it, in Mike Tyson's earlier days, he was just smashing everyone, and it would be quick. And there'd be fights. And I think also in Chris Cyborg's earlier days, a lot of, you get it, fighter that's so dominant that you'd have to lay like $1,000 to win like $50 or to win 100. I mean, that's always a bad proposition, although you always hear some guys that have money will do it, right? They'll say, you know what, this is a way to pick up some pretty easy money. You know, if I've got $1 million in my savings account, I'll put down 10,000. And in this case, I'll put down 10,000 on Lucas Brennan to win 1,000. I mean, I guess you could do that, but that's a huge amount of risk. I think that kind of really goes against any professional gambling tenants or stuff. Now that you're an expert on that, but I think you'd agree probably, huh?
Yeah, I would agree. I'm not well versed in betting and how it all goes, but like it's not a good money maker, you know.
No, no. You know, it'd be funny if you had a friend, I don't know if this ever happened, come over to you and say, "All right, Luke, I've just got to make an extra $1,000 to pay off my car or to give my wife a present or to pay rent. I'm just going to bet 10,000 on you, but you have to absolutely guarantee me you're not going to stub your toe and twist your ankle. You're not going to let this guy elbow you and cut you. Can you promise me that without a doubt you're not going to lose this fight?" Has that ever happened? And if it does, what would you say?
Oh, that'd be a lot of pressure.
Yeah, right. What do you
So,
think?
dude, you're better asking me for $1,000
than that, right? Right? Because I guess your friends haven't ever tried to put pressure on you like that, especially since the odds pretty much never allow for any money to be made. But have you ever had any friend try to say, "Can you absolutely promise me, I'm going to bet all the money I have"?
I have a handful of friends that have like wanted to bet money.
Yeah.
And like this is going to go well. And it's like, well, you're asking me, so I'm going to say it's going to go well. But
right.
like,
You're not going to cover their losses though if something went wrong.
No.
No, makes sense. So this is another 145 fight for you, which is a good weight for you. Not an easy cut, but you're making it. I believe all your fights so far, including amateur, have been 45, or did you do a 35 as an amateur or something?
My first 2 amateur fights were 130. I actually had a catch fight, and then 135, and then everything since then has been 145.
That makes sense. And what are you, 21 now? 22? 22, right?
I'll turn 22 in June.
Sounds good. All right. And so it's still a doable weight cut, or I don't know if you would admit it. If it wasn't, maybe you probably would. I mean, is it still doable, or are you eyeing 155 pretty soon?
It's currently a doable weight cut for sure.
Okay.
With the way they run the quarantine here and testing and things like that, we miscalculated when I fought Andrew Salas, right? It's the only time I've ever missed weight.
Right.
We flew into quarantine for 2 days. As soon as you're out, you're cutting weight. You have no scale, you have no anything. You're just sitting in your hotel room. And so we just didn't calculate that through very well, and it didn't go as planned. Obviously, since then, we've really figured out how to perfect my diet through that part of the camp. And so, weight cuts perfect.
And usually, someone 145 might be walking around 165. Do you ever give out that information? Is it a secret, or are you around that area maybe?
65 is a good healthy weight for me. I'll get up to probably 75 after this. I'll probably sit around there, but that's not like top tier performance. That's me enjoying a 2-3 week period of zero diet.
Right. Right.
Back in.
Makes sense. Well, man, you're in such a great position. You're 6-0 now, I think, right?
5-0.
5-0. Okay. Hey, we're looking at a victory already on Friday, but that will put you at 6-0. You're making good progress. You're really learning your game. I mean, you had a great background. Your dad really did good by you guys, you and your brother, by really training from a young age. And obviously, I think he, as a jiu-jitsu black belt and world champion, wanted to teach you guys that. And I think he also realized that to have the wrestling would really be helpful, because that's something that even though he kind of got, you have obviously a better wrestling background than your dad and of course your brother. And so your dad was really smart, I think, to have you get into that. And then I think the striking started to come right, I think, when you were wanting to become a fighter. So I would say that your striking you're getting comfortable with, but your grappling you're more comfortable with. Would you say that you're equally as comfortable with your wrestling as your jiu-jitsu, or do you feel one is a lot better than the other?
I mean, I think my jiu-jitsu's on a higher level than everything else is. But I'm quite comfortable in both.
Right.
Grappling in general, I'm definitely comfortable in. Striking's definitely come along. I wasn't able to do it quite as much growing up, so it took me. I spent a longer time grappling than I did striking. I didn't really get to through high school or anything like that. I was always wrestling, and so that came later. But I'm definitely getting way more comfortable there as well.
Good. Do you ever feel like going out there and striking just to try it out and just to get your feet wet? I mean, that, in fact, I'd really like to hear your answer on this, because I know that probably would be a fun thing if you could just say to yourself, I'm not going to try to get this fight to the ground at all. But then again, is fun necessarily smart? It probably isn't. And what's your thought on that, though? Do you ever, and you don't have to make it specific to this fight, but do you feel like you want to get some striking in for at least a few minutes? And is there a time where, where you're going to just say, I'm going to just stop myself from thinking takedown because I absolutely need to get in some minutes in an actual fight striking? I mean, you have some already, but, continuing forward.
Yeah, I mean, I try not to get into that mindset too much. I do a lot of striking at the gym. I do a lot of my sparring is stand up to try and get myself more comfortable and more like well versed in that realm of things. But would it be more fun? It might be. Like just like I don't know, but I'm not gonna find out.
No.
I'm better off fighting smart. I'm enjoying striking, and I don't believe it's on the same level as my jiu-jitsu, but I do believe that my striking is getting to a good level where I'm very comfortable. But I'm still I'm a grappler.
Yeah.
And so I like having the additional striking just to be there, but I would enjoy it more myself just going out and wrestling someone. I think it's no secret what the game plan is when I'm fighting. So
Absolutely. And you've had your black belt for about a year and a half now or something like that?
3
years.
I just got my first stripe on my black belt back in December.
Nice. I remember when I was interviewing your dad, I think it was like 4 years ago, and he was going to surprise you with your brown belt. And maybe it was 4.5 years ago, something like that, almost 5.
Mm-hmm.
And that must have been a great feeling, right?
Oh yeah, I mean that's always a good feeling. Getting promoted in general is awesome, but yeah, those are big belts. So
absolutely. And so you have that down, and having that wrestling and that jiu-jitsu that good. I mean, I think that's something that puts you in a really good position, because you have the ground and pound, but you've also got the submissions. What do you think about leg locks in MMA? Like, I don't know if you watched the UFC main event, right? So, okay, good. So from a black belt, which you are, I'm not. I'm a jiu-jitsu practitioner, but still purple belt. My body may not let me even get to brown. I'm getting old. But Cyril Gane, he wasn't really that close to getting that heel hook. But in my opinion, and I only watched it once, I haven't had a chance to rewatch it. In my opinion, he was getting some pressure there. He was starting to turn it a little bit. He had the toes under the armpit. And my thought is he may have done a little bit of damage there and maybe made Francis feel it a little bit. And Francis says he was already damaged anyway. But can you tell me from more of an expert what you think on that, or how close it was, or if anything, either of them?
I fall into it from the top. Like he had just gotten a big takedown. I would have just stayed on top for the entire round and won that round, even if you're not submit him. Submit him with something that's going to keep you in a dominant position. But that was something that he fell for it, and sure it could have been tight, but you're fighting for the world champ. I'm not tapping.
Right.
If a is on the line, my knee's going. Take it.
Yeah.
I'll go to win that round. So it's just an odd thing to go for in the last round. But I don't know. If you're already on bottom, I think leg locks are awesome. But if you're on top, it better be tight.
Yeah. Was that how close was that? You think any of his? I mean, not real close, or was he actually possibly doing some damage?
I think if it wasn't such a high level, high risk fight, it could have been something. Had it just been in the gym, maybe.
Right.
He'd be like, yeah, that was solid. But you're fighting at that level. I'm sure he was like, yeah, this hurts, but I'll live.
Right, makes sense.
I'll go with a limp for a little while to hang on to the belt. So.
Yeah, makes sense. And a lot of jiu-jitsu players are doing it in jiu-jitsu. It almost seems like that's been one of the big things for the last 5 years is leg locks. An interesting thing in the and we got about 2 minutes left. I don't know if you saw the jiu-jitsu, I forget which organization it was, but it was one where it was some UFC fighters against some straight jiu-jitsu players. The main event was a cut on Carla Esparza, and Danielle Kelly won it. Sean Brady, I think, came in and got a draw against Craig Jones. But one of the things they said is there's no leg locks. And obviously that changed the game in a huge way, making it a disadvantage for the jiu-jitsu people. But does that sort of a tournament seem like it's an interesting thing, or do you think it's pretty much set up for the jiu-jitsu players to probably lose?
I mean, just because you take out leg locks, it's still a jiu-jitsu thing. I think the problem is people have made leg locks their entire game.
Right.
Like a lot of people have a top game, and their bottom game is leg locks. And if you pass their guard, they're just terrible. Like they have black belt level leg locks, but the rest of their game is blue belt level. Like it's not very well versed. And so yeah, if you take out leg locks on paper, it should still be for jiu-jitsu guys. It's a jiu-jitsu match. I think taking out leg locks just made it a little easier for fighters, but still jiu-jitsu guys, were running it. It's just I don't know. I didn't watch all of that event. I saw bits and pieces. I didn't even know what was happening until I'd opened my phone. I was seeing Kevin Holland was someone, and I was like, oh. And then I saw Carla Esparza's head. I was like, yeah, that's tough.
Yep.
But yeah, it's leg locks have, not that they're not good, but I think they need to be an additional thing to your game and not your game.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So in the last 2 minutes, minute and a half, we have you. Let people know where they can watch Bellator and maybe right around what hour your fight might be, if you could, this Friday.
Fight should be live streamed just on YouTube. It'll be Bellator 273. Stream obviously won't be up yet, but this coming Saturday, it'll be live streamed on there. I believe the card starts at 6 p.m. Arizona time. So, kind of do that math around. But yeah, it should just be live streamed on YouTube.
And are you the fifth fight in, or,
As of right now, I'm the third fight in.
Third fight in. Excellent. Fantastic. Well, this will be a good fight, and I think this is a good opponent. You got to be excited. I don't think you make predictions or anything like that for finishes or rounds, or do you?
No. I'm just excited to be fighting.
Absolutely. Your dad will be there in the corner, right?
Yes, sir.
Has your brother, Tyler, been in the corner yet for any of your pro fights, and could that happen?
No. I mean, it's cool. It'd be a cool idea. Currently, he's wrestling in college. I don't think if he was going to corner me, he'd have to fly in Saturday night and leave Saturday night. They keep on a very busy schedule, and so it would be cool. But he's got his own season going on right now, and so he's got bigger things.
Makes sense. Maybe one day down the line, huh?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Well, Lucas Brennan, I appreciate you a lot, man. You're an amazing, gifted fighter, a great guy. I think your skill set is amazing. You got amazing coaching from your dad, Chris Brennan. Huge respect to him and to you. Can't wait to see you fight. And this is going to be a good one. I think if you look really dominant here, like the odds say, then this is going to really make a statement. And even if you don't look dominant, if you win, you're still doing what you got to do. So I appreciate you a lot, Chris Brennan. Thank you so much for coming on the MMA Power Hour. Always great chatting with you, and we'll stay in touch.
All right. Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night. All right. I think our next guest is probably here. Excellent. Miles Johns, can you hear me? Miles, can you hear me? Okay, maybe he's trying to connect audio. Let me see. Miles, are you there? Okay, Miles saying he's ready. Okay. All ready when you are. We're just trying to see if you're there on the Zoom. Here on the Zoom. Here on the Zoom. Okay. Miles, can you hear me?
Hello?
Excellent. Miles Johns, you are there. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Here we go.
Excellent. We see you. Awesome. Let me give you a great introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, super excited and happy to have this next fighter back on the show. And he is an amazing UFC, I'm going to say, I know sometimes the divisions move, but bantamweight, right, Miles?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Bantamweight.
Excellent. UFC bantamweight out of Fortis MMA in Texas. The man is a killer. Amazing win streak. Looking fantastic as always. He's got a great fight coming up this Saturday, and we're happy to have him back. The man they call Chapo, Miles Johns. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem. So, who is your opponent? My mind's got so crazy running around all day. Remind me who you got this Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. It's John Castaneda. He's a vet. He's been around for a while. He had a short notice fight as his debut and lost to a pretty tough dude. And then his fight after that, he won by knockout against another vet that'd been there for a while. So tough cat, kind of about my height, so a little shorter, stockier guy. I think it makes for a great fight, fun fight.
Absolutely. I look forward to it. We had your teammate on, Stephen Ocho Peterson, a couple weeks ago, and he said he's really excited. He said, you're killing it, and he's looking forward to you doing your thing and him on the same card. Now,
he's actually
there he is,
there
Stephen.
right
What's
there,
happening? Good deal. Yeah. And you guys are awesome.
Our last rounds here at Fortis, so hopping in the sauna, get a little sweat.
That's awesome.
Sweat in the night.
Awesome. I always like to let people's teammates know that they're shouting them out, man, because, you guys are both really good guys, and I can't wait to see you guys in there. Now, you guys are the two representatives of Fortis this Saturday, or is there another? It's the two. You two guys only, right?
Nope, it's just going to be us two. Next Saturday on February 5th, we'll be carrying the flag. So just us two with that. And it's fun. Like, people can't really see how much time we spend together just through social media, because we're posting our own things, kind of doing our own things on there.
Yeah.
But this team is super strong, super close knit, and we train together like all day. I see these guys twice a day, 5 days a week. So yeah, and we've been fighting together for a while, way back in like legacy days. So it's exciting, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Iron sharpens iron, man. Which fight, do you guys know do you know, Miles, which fight, what number fight from the beginning? Like, if the first fight is the fight that starts the card, do you know what number you are?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen that they've released the bout order yet, but I kind of peeked on it daily and stuff. So hopefully we'll see that soon.
That's cool. And one thing I think a bunch of people don't know is the UFC doesn't allow fighters, even though maybe the Apex is different, but normally the UFC won't allow a fighter to go into the crowd to sit and watch a fight. But is this at the Apex? Where's this one at?
Yeah, it's at the Apex. So
is that that's an
I don't
exception?
think there's going to be any fans.
Right. So then in the Apex, can you come out? Whichever one of you guys fights first, can the other one come out and watch? I would imagine yes, right? Or do they still not want you to do that?
I'm not really sure about that. And we'll probably be somewhat close. So to fighting like somewhat close on the card. So I've never done that before, but I'm not sure. Maybe it'll work out like that.
Right. And normally every fighter has some of his coaches and people that are in his corner. I guess frequently both of you guys have your head coach, but I guess you guys as fighters can't really have each other now with COVID restrictions, especially. Or can you? Can you decide, like, if both of you wanted to be there in each other's corner, could that work out, or is that going to probably be a problem with COVID, and is that just something you don't really want to do, especially if you're on the same?
I mean, it's possible, if you had to do that, but it wouldn't be ideal for us anyway. His guy is a taller guy, long guy, has a different style than me, and my guy is quite a bit different style than him, so it works out good in that. Like, I'm having our strength and conditioning coach be one of my corners, and he's both of our strength and conditioning coach, does great warm-ups, keeps us sharp throughout the week. So he'll be there and he'll act as a corner for both of us. And then he has a teammate, Fernie Garcia, who will be there and be a partner for both of us. So it kind of works out. You get like double the people there with you to help you with whatever you need.
Very cool. And then you both will have Coach Safe in your corner, or is he not going to be able to make it?
Yes, sir. We both have Coach Safe, and I'm going to have my brother, Elijah Johns. He has another guy, Stephen Wynn, coming out. So we'll have a full squad there.
Absolutely. I've been hearing some good things about your brother. He's still in LFA, but possibly one fight away from the UFC or something?
Yeah, hopefully maybe he'll have to fight in LFA again before the summer, but hoping for a contender series this summer and then go from there. It's tough.
And he's a featherweight like Steven, right?
Yep. A little big bro.
Right. Are you guys getting some good work, all three of you? I imagine so, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. EJ's good. He's a good style for everybody. You know, I go with him close to the end of my camp a lot too, just because his size and his strength, you know, gets that extra wear on me. But he's also been partner for Steven because he fights similar to his guys. So yeah, it's good, man. Everybody takes care of everybody here.
That makes sense.
There's no personal agendas. It's the team effort.
That's how it should be. That's how I'd like to hear it. So they have you as about a 2.5 to 1 favorite. Do you ever, I mean, do you look at that? I imagine like some fighters do, some fighters don't, but like you personally, what do you think? Are you a guy that will sometimes throw down $50 or $100, or your friends do, or do you look at the odds to say, man, they think this, they think that, what the heck? Or what's your take
No,
on
I
that?
mean, close, like on fight week, people send me it, you know, people send me all sorts of stuff, and they'll send me the odds, so I usually see it, but I'm not real into that right now. Maybe one day I'll do some betting, but you know, if they really mattered and that was a tell, then people would be making millions every time and never losing. You know,
Right.
the point of those odds is that it's a gamble. Like you can't really tell anything from that, and favorites get beat all the time. So I've been the underdog. I've been the favorite. I can't even remember what I was for each fight. It's just another thing that you are aware of and you throw out of your mind because it don't matter.
Absolutely. And it may be a silly question. I know I've asked this to several fighters, but it's legit and it's something I like to know. Have you ever had a situation where friends or cousins or even your brother or someone has said, "Look, man, I'm going to just take like all my savings account and put it on you. Can you pretty much promise me this is not going to go sour?" Have you ever had that happen, and if so, what would you say?
I have not had that happen with close family or friends or anything, but I've had some people on Instagram message me, be like, "Hey, I'm putting this amount of money on you. Like, don't lose me money or something. Like, go hand this, and I'll buy you a dinner." Or you know, just stuff like that. Or they'll hit me up after and be like, "Oh, you lost me a ton of money, you freaking punk. Like, you owe me money." And I'm like,
Yeah, it's
it's all
ridiculous.
comedy for me, man.
That's cool. So you don't get pissed off or anything like that or get offended or anything, but also you're not going to go and tell them, yeah, you're safe. Go ahead and bet everything you got.
Not a chance, man. There's no guarantees in this game, and no, I just laugh at. I mean, I have people send me crazy stuff, so I just laugh at it.
Absolutely. So anything going on with you as far as your thoughts? Your career is going great. I know a lot of people try to think about different things and get different streams of income, or people think they might want to start coaching or being a commentator or have a clothing line or something. Any thoughts that you have maybe that we could, let people know and support as far as what you think your brand might be doing as the years go by with success?
Yeah, I have I'm the head coach of our kids program here.
Nice.
And I have 3 sons myself, and they're all my oldest one is 5, and he loves it. You know, he's been doing it for like a year and a half now. And then my middle one is 3. He's getting into it. My youngest one thinks he's doing it, but he's really just throwing himself and other people around.
Nice.
But yeah, so I mean, coaching is definitely something I'm looking into. Having a gym, training people. I love training people. I'm like a real detailed guy with things I do. So you have to be a certain type of person to do my training. You know, I worked the jab for like the first 3 years of my career, and it's just a jab till I perfected it. So it's kind of how I train also.
Nice.
But yeah, there's a couple of different options with that. You know, right now my main focus is just winning fights and building a name and a reputation that people can trust and that they know. Because from there, yeah, you know, you can monetize yourself off of your name if people trust you and they know you and they know you're tough. Because that's all. They just want to be led and instructed by somebody they know has been through the fire and is certified.
Absolutely true. So let's look on a positive note. I know you're not going to look past this opponent, so I'm not going to ask your opinion how you do against this guy or that guy. But let's look at the landscape of the UFC bantamweight division. You've got Peter Yan. He came up good against Sandhagen. I think they are going to make Yan against Sterling. I think that is signed. Right, and then you got T.J. Dillashaw waiting in the wings. Did you say something else? I'm sorry.
I think that title fight's in March.
Okay, right. And then you got T.J. Dillashaw waiting. Henry Cejudo is talking maybe he come back in there, but not for sure. In fact, he looks like he's more interested in 145. But it seems to me that although 135 is a competitive division, your road is not necessarily like, clogged up with a whole bunch of guys. And that's a good thing, you know what I mean? And so what are your thoughts as far as like who you think might, after a great victory here, might you look for someone in the top 10, or could, would that be a time when you're in there? I know you're not far away now. And then do you think like maybe you're 2-3 fights away from wanting to fight some of these men that I just mentioned?
Yeah, I'm not like, if I had an opportunity to fight a top 10 guy, I'd take it in a heartbeat.
Nice.
But I'm not one to try to skip the line. I want to do my due diligence. And I don't think after winning this one, I don't think I'll get a top 10 guy. I think the first step would be top 15. And maybe I'll get that after this one. But there's a lot of guys out there who aren't in the top 15 who've done a little bit more than me in the UFC so far. So I'm honestly thinking, win this fight. I have somebody in my head that I want to call out after. Granted, I win, do that one, and then